What if I told you that exactly 1 year ago? Today, I was sitting in a spot just like this, looking at two tiny quantum computing stocks that nobody wanted to touch. One was called Rigetti, and the other was D-Wave and Man. People thought I had actually lost my mind for even mentioning them. But then the madness happened where one of them ripped up like 800% and the other one followed close behind with a 500% gain in what felt like a heartbeat. And what if I also told you that back in the chaos of February 2021, I stood right here and told you about a little software company called Palantir. From that exact price point, it went on an absolute tear, running up more than 600% to hit its all-time high while the skeptics were still busy calling it a glorified consulting firm. Then just last May, I sat down and talked to you guys about a boring company called Seagate when it was trading at 95 bucks. Everyone wanted the flashy AI chips, but nobody wanted the hardware, and then boom, 12 months later, it hits 800 bucks for a 745% gain. Oh shit, and don't even get me started on Intel, because when I talked about it last August, the comments section was basically a comedy roast. Everyone laughed their heads off saying Intel was a dinosaur, but today it is officially the comeback story of 2026. Most people look at these kinds of gains and think they are once-in-a-lifetime miracles that only happen to the lucky few. But in this video, I am going to show you that this doesn't have to be some rare lightning strike for you if you know how to read the room. The truth is, you've been told a massive fib, a total half-truth by the financial industry that is designed to keep you stagnant. I really hope you can suffer through the wobbles and the slightly terrible audio right now because, as you can probably tell, I am literally on a flight. But the air pressure and the turbulence didn't matter because I felt it was way too important to share this specific moment with you. The goal here is to show you that there are even bigger opportunities sitting right in front of your nose right now. It is just a tragedy that most people were never taught the actual mechanics of how to find them before they explode. So in this video, I am going to walk you through 3 specific stocks that are primed for a move and explain why most investors will miss them entirely. Now, full disclosure, I am not a registered investment advisor, and past performance is never a guarantee of future results, so keep your head on straight. But to make sure this really lands for you, I am not just making this shaky video from an airplane seat. I am giving you a massive bonus, which is a full research report covering everything I am sharing today, plus a whole lot more detail. Since I am sitting in a cramped airplane seat, this video might be a little less structured than usual, so the report fills in all those gaps. There is a link down below for that, and it is completely free, so just grab it and thank me later. Actually, you should probably thank Winston for that because he is the real boss of the operation. In case you are wondering, Winston is my adopted golden retriever pup, who is definitely not flying with us today. He is probably out on a hike right now, enjoying the mountains while these wobbles are currently spilling my tea all over my lap. If you bought any of the stocks I mentioned earlier, and you are currently up 800% or 1000%, then man, you are feeling like a king. But we have to talk about the dark side because the problem is a lot of people bought them at the absolute worst moment. They chased the green candles, held on for way too long, and now they are staring at a big, ugly minus 70% in their brokerage account. That is the recurring nightmare that almost every retail investor encounters again and again until they learn the game. If that has happened to you, if you bought something that went to the moon and then crashed while you were still holding it, let me know in the comments. Consider this a safe space, like an anonymous meeting for stock investors where we can finally be honest about the bags we are carrying. Seriously, share the stock name down there because acknowledging the mistake is the first step to making sure it never happens again. The reason this happened to you is because you were fed the lie that you should buy and hold every single stock forever. That strategy is actually only true for one specific thing, and that is the broad index like the SP 500. The constant money printing and the way the index is weighted will eventually push that up over decades. But individual stocks are a completely different animal, and no, they do not go up forever. Just go talk to the investors who were ride or die for Plug Power or PayPal or BlackBerry or Neo. Those guys are feeling real pain right now, watching $10,000 shrink down into $1,500. If you are planning on buying individual stocks and holding them until you die, you are likely going to regret it deeply. The speed at which technology is moving in 2026 means today, winners are being hunted by technologies we haven't even named yet. Yes, some companies will adapt, but many will simply become the next Nokia or the next Xerox or the next horse and carriage. Remember what happened to the horse when Ford started mass producing the Model T, because that is exactly what AI is doing to legacy tech. But look, Wall Street actually has a solution for this, and they have known it for decades while they let you hold the bag. We are going to run a live seminar for the first time ever on why the buy and hold strategy is officially dead in 2026. It is going to be live, it is going to be free, and it is happening this coming weekend, so you need to be there. I will be in France doing it live from there, so the time zone will actually work for my friends in the UK and Europe for once. This is a huge deal because almost nobody understands how to rotate capital, and they lose so much money on mistakes that take 2 hours to fix. Grab a free ticket at buyandgrow.org because there will be no replay, so if you miss it, you are out of luck. But let us jump back into the actual opportunities that are staring us in the face right now. If you are wondering who the heck I am, my name is Felix and I used to be an investment banker. I think the pilot just gave me a weird look through the curtain, but hey, we are committed now. I left that banking world because I didn't like the vibe, and I started an academy that has now taught over 20,000 students. I also co-founded TradeVision, which is the platform thousands of you use to find these patterns before the news picks them up. Let me walk you through a couple of winners, not to brag, but to show you the DNA of a successful trade. We already touched on the quantum stocks like Rigetti, which went up over 1,000% from the first time I mentioned it. Back then, everyone called me crazy, saying quantum computing was 20 years away and not yet proven, but I knew that the technical proof didn't matter as much as the fact that smart money was pouring into the sector. The problem was that after going up 1,000%, most of them crashed 70%, and that is where the buy and hold crowd got slaughtered. Then you look at Palantir, which was trading around $20 when I started pounding the table on it. People were dismissing it as a boring government contractor, but I saw it as the operating system for the entire defense community. AI was the catalyst that made it explode, and we could see the institutional money moving in long before the retail hype started. More recently, on May 10th, 2025, I told you about that super boring hard drive company Seagate. Everyone was shouting about NVIDIA, and nobody cared about storage, but I realized AI needs a place to put all that data. Trillions of dollars of training data and video logs need physical hard drives, and someone has to build them. Today, Seagate is trading near $800, which is a 700% gain in just 12 months by being boring and profitable. And Intel last summer was in the absolute gutter, with people literally writing obituaries for the company. But the money flow changed, and it is up 500% because the macro tailwinds shifted toward reshoring and domestic chips. If you look at these winners, they all follow the same pattern of being out of favor, hated, and mocked right before they moon. But you have to understand the wreckage before you are qualified to see the next big opportunity. This is why I keep saying that buy and hold is a dangerous game. If you don't know when to get out, look at PayPal, which was the king of the pandemic and the supposed future of all money. It peaked at $310 in 2021 and is trading around $46 today for an 85% loss. If you put 10K into that, you are sitting on $1,500 while the rest of the market doubled. Or look at Plug Power, which was supposed to be the next Tesla of clean energy. It went from $75 down to $3, which is a 96% wipeout of total wealth. BlackBerry ripped to $28 in the meme craze and is now back at $6, down 77%. NIO went to $67 and is now struggling at $5.90 for a 91% drop. And Lucid, the supposed Tesla killer backed by Saudi billions, went from $57 to $2. A 10K investment in Lucid is now worth about $120, which is enough for a nice dinner but not much else. Be honest with me in the comments, have you held a stock that is down more than 30%, because we have all been there. It is a human mistake to marry a stock and defend it on social media while Wall Street quietly exits the building. Buy and hold doesn't die because the company disappears, it dies because the narrative changes and retail investors don't have the map. That is what I am going to teach you this weekend at buyandgrow.org, so sign up and bring a very large notebook. Now let us talk about the three names I am watching right now, starting with Fortinet, ticker symbol FTNT. This is a cybersecurity powerhouse, and I actually mentioned it a week ago in a live training session. It is already up about 30% since that mention, and I know some of you are screaming that it is too late, but I think the move is just getting started because the bull case is actually becoming more urgent every day. Every company on Earth is currently terrified of AI-driven cyber attacks like deepfakes and automated worms. Cybersecurity budgets are doubling across the Fortune 500, and Fortinet has a massive edge with their custom chips. They build their own ASICs, which makes their firewalls faster and much cheaper to run than any of their competitors. That is a real physical moat, and the revenue is recurring subscription money, which Wall Street absolutely drools over. If you look at the chart, we just broke back toward the peaks of 2025, and that is often the perfect entry point. It sounds counterintuitive to buy at a high, but that is where the momentum truly confirms the trend. The second stock is Compass Minerals, ticker symbol CMP, and man, this one is beautifully boring. They produce salt and fertilizer, which might sound like a snooze fest until you look at the economics. They mine the salt that goes on every icy road in the winter and the specialty fertilizer for high-end crops like nuts and fruits. The demand for salt never goes to zero, and you cannot 3D print a salt mine or replace it with an AI bot. They have massive physical assets in Ontario and Utah that act as a shield against the digital chaos of the world. The stock has been beaten down to $27 from a high of nearly $100 because of some temporary debt and weather issues. But the institutional money is starting to pour back in because they want hard assets that produce real cash flow. I wouldn't bet the entire farm on it, but as a diversifier away from tech, it is looking very juicy right now. The third stock is MKS Instruments, ticker symbol MKSI, and you have probably never heard of them. But I can guarantee you that you depend on them every single day. Without realizing it, they make the precision vacuum systems and lasers that go inside the machines that build semiconductors. If NVIDIA is the race car, then MKS makes the high-tech wrenches that the factory needs to build the engine. No wrenches means no factory, and that means no race cars for the AI revolution. The US, Europe, and Japan are spending hundreds of billions to build their own chip fabs, and MKS sells to every single one of them. They are the shovel of the shovels in the semiconductor space, and we are at a major cyclical turning point. The The valuation is actually quite reasonable compared to the insane multiples we are seeing in the rest of the sector. So there you have it, 3 ideas to put on your radar, but please do not just run out and buy them blindly. If this impromptu airplane video clicked for you, then you owe it to yourself to learn the actual skill of rotation. I am going to show you the exact frameworks I use to spot the tops before a stock turns into the next Lucid. Financial education is the only real shield you have in a world where the rules are constantly being rewritten. Go to buyandgrow.org and grab your spot for the live training because we are on a mission to educate 1 million people. Share this video with one friend who is still holding a bag from 2021 and type shared in the comments so I can thank you. I am going to try not to spill any more tea on myself as we start our descent into France. Stay sharp, keep your heart protected, and I will see you live this weekend. Peace.